So 2-point perspective, here's a finished view of the shaded boxes, 2 of them. This is just showing you the linear perspective and how it starts off and finishes itself. A little bit darker lines to kind of clear it up. So the page is on there, page 5, the problem 1 at the top. And what you want to do is start off with a horizontal format, and this ruler is a little bit large, but just kind of rotating it around as you see, just doing it in Illustrator. And if I put it at 8, then I can use 8 divided equal lines on there to make 8 rows. Here I can put it down to 6. So once it's at 6, I can then go ahead and put the mark at every 2 inches, so 2, 4, and then 6 is the edge. That gives me a third of the distance down for the horizon line. That's what that represents right there. So it makes it just a little bit easier to pinpoint that. So what we're going to do is just start off kind of what we've been doing, just with a vertical line segment. And in this case, I can heavy this up just so you can see it a little bit clearer. And then just move it in a little bit so you can see it. I can also move it around, which you don't have the luxury with a pencil to do. But just place it about maybe a third of the way down from the horizon line. Extend it up just a little bit. So just kind of taking a look, you're going to make a similar selection. So from the top going to the left vanishing point, and do the same with the bottom of the line segment, left vanishing point. And then repeat the same process, this time going to the right. And you'll see that it's angular perspective, meaning that an angle is coming close to the front of the picture plane, which is the paper, flat piece of paper. So it's still just developing this illusion of space, so kind of going left to right. Next part is just to arbitrarily, turn that off a minute, make this vertical line. Got to be right on the line segment, so we'll try it up here. And just hold the shift key. In this case, you're trying to do a straight line if you have a straight edge. Do the same. So this is going to be the rectangular shape that we're going to duplicate. And we'll just go ahead and take from the far side, go opposite directions to the vanishing point. You see how it just puts that in perspective. Everything right now is below the horizon line or eye level, which is what that section is. So now we want to divide and find the cross section here by dividing the center. Diagonal lines are going to find the center of this shape in perspective, so it's just the illusion. From that center, we're just going to take it to the vanishing point, and that's going to bisect the second vertical, or the back right-hand side of the box. Let's see if this will go from here. And I'll leave that on there just so you can see it. And that divides it right there in the middle. So now this process is just a repeated segment. You can go on into infinity, comes through the center line, comes all the way to the bottom, and from that piece you're just going to go straight up from there right up to the top. And that is showing you that it's the same shape in perspective, and just take it back to the left vanishing point. So you have 2 boxes that are in proportion, in perspective, using the illusion of going into space. So now it's just a matter, we'll just kind of change everything here to repeat, lighten everything up so we can just kind of draw over the top. Now on the pencil drawing, you'll do this relatively light. If I did it in pencil, it would be hard to see. That's why I'm just trying to opt on using Illustrator, just so you can see clean, crisp lines, and on the video it shows up. So I'll just change everything, just make it a light blue shape just to show that. And you can also use this as a like a blueprint if you flip the colors. So that'll give you an option. That's an old method of how they used to do floor plans and architectural renderings, was a white ink on a blue paper, kind of represented that. So now on the Illustrator file, I'm just going to work on a layer above it and dim down the bottom piece that you see. So now you have the pen tool, just setting it so it has no fill to start off with. So just kind of repeating the shapes. We're going to make these into hollow shapes as we go. So here it is. Giving that a color. Let's see if this will pop in here real quickly. Just going to do this again. So you can, it's also giving you a little bit of Illustrator information as we do this. So it's just trying to showing that shape going from the corner to corner, setting that piece up, and just going ahead and filling it with just a light color off of the color palette with the tints and the tones. And that's our tints and the shades. Remember, tint is adding white, shade is adding black to the color, and that gives you that overall scaling for that piece. So as we go through this, it'll be a little bit easier once we get some of the gradients in there. So here's the shape. So on the anchor point, just make sure everything is unselected when you're working with Illustrator, otherwise it'll start to add to the path. And while that's selected, just use the X key to bring up the fill, put the stroke in the background, and then go back into the colors and just lay in a color just to get us started here. And then you start to build up the rest of the shapes. Again, with the pen tool, it'll show the anchor point. I have the smart guides on, and that's allowing me to just click at the intersections of these points. So now I have the three-sided box. We've done this a number of times. Isometric, now it's in perspective. Isometric was all at 30 degrees. Perspective goes to the vanishing point. And for here, we'll just do the part that's going to represent the inside of the box, so just to give it a different value, just so you can see it. So simple as that. Now you have the depth. Okay, so now with the second box that we did, just have to do the two sides, the top and the side, and then do the inside of the box just like the other one. I'm going to leave it maybe just a little color difference just so you can see it. And the way this was constructed is just that simple method of finding the center, dividing it on the far side, and then using a little geometry. And when you lay this out as a flat piece on a paper, it makes more sense because you can see the pattern that it makes. So it's nothing more than a pattern, just in a distorted vanishing point that just tapers, and that gives you that illusion of a spatial background. Makes it pretty easy as it goes through. And then just using the eyedropper to make that color. So there it is in a nutshell, just kind of straight values, nothing, no shading and anything, but that gives you the color. The shadow, just kind of showing this going horizontal, almost like a 90-degree angle, and representing the light coming from the right to the left, just making it very simple. And then when it goes a little further in the distance, you would see the other side of the box. So here I just put it in the background there, and that would also go to the vanishing point. So you have to compensate for that, and you can draw right through it. And here's just a little triangle shape to show the cast shadow on the interior of the box. So it's, again, just a simple design, but once it gets going, you have to accommodate for that. And I'm just drawing right on top of it. As long as the smart guides tell me I'm either in the corner at an anchor point or right on the line segment. Makes it very easy. And then you have the entire illustration. I can select it, take off the stroke, and you see a question mark on the fill because it has a variety of different fills. So it registers as a question mark. And then coming back to the layer that has the strokes and all the guidelines, just hide those. And there you have it, just kind of a simple design, just flat graphics. And then from here on out, you can go in with some of the gradients, which I'll put in with color, just using orange and blue complementary colors with a little simple ground plane, which the boxes will be resting on, and then doing a little bit of sky, nothing major, just trying to get some of the simplicity of showing how to make a duplicate object and measuring it in the distance.